painting. I'm mostly going to be using this for like the sky, but I'll be looking at this one for some of the trees. Yeah, and we'll start in just a little bit. If you want to paint along, then just getting you out there on the algorithm. Oh, thank you, Spurs. Yeah, thank you for all those likes. That's awesome. We'll start in just a little bit. Let me turn this around. I'll talk to you guys for a little bit. Can I turn it around? Yeah, I think I can turn this around. Let's see here. Oh, I can't turn the... Guess I can't turn it around. I was gonna turn the mic or the camera around so I could talk to you guys. Oh, ready. All right. Hey, Faye, welcome. Was looking for a good live. Welcome. White Snow Wolf, welcome. All right, so if you are going to follow along, you're gonna wanna get your watercolor paper and we really only need like 3 or 4 colors. But if you get like light green, dark green, and dark blue and black, you should be able to paint what we're painting tonight. And I like using 2 like jars of water. One to stay clean whenever I need clean water. Yeah, thank you, White Snow Wolf. The right place. Yeah, welcome. And then, what else? You're gonna need a pencil. And this is optional, like having like a hair blow dryer. That is to make the paint dry faster when we get to this stage right here. All right, what else? I've been painting the last few days just to be creative. That's awesome, White Snow Wolf. That's awesome. Okay, well, I will turn it back around and we'll get started right now, actually. More people will probably join us later. All right, got all that. All right, Faye. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna figure out how to turn this around again. All right. I will be putting this like full, as long as everything goes okay, I will be putting this on my YouTube channel. So if I'm going too fast, don't worry. You can watch it again on YouTube, and that way I can go at your pace. But right now I'm just gonna try to go through it. Not wasting your time, just go right through it. I'm gonna show you, I made like a little step-by-step. There's like 10 steps. The first step I actually left out, which we'll do right now, and that is to get your watercolors, and what you want to do is activate them. So you just get your brush wet and you put a couple drops of water in the colors you think you're going to use. So we're going to use a light green, a dark green possibly, a dark blue, and for the sky we're going to use a sky blue. So by just putting in a few drops like that, we're activating the watercolor. All right, and while we're letting that activate, you're gonna want a rag there too to dry off and clean your brush. All right, so here is what we're gonna do. We're gonna use 100% cotton paper. This this allows us to put layers and not worry about the paper buckling. We're going to wet the front side and the back side of the paper so that it stays flat and that we can make some really cool looking clouds. We're gonna dab the blue sky blue color to create the illusion of clouds in a blue sky. Then technically we would dry both sides to prevent one side from buckling, but I cannot do that on the live because I have used my hair dryer on a live before and it's too loud, and it could shut off the live because it's so loud. So what I've done is, before I went live, I made what we're going to make here, and it's dry. So right when we're done with dabbing the blue sky, I'm gonna switch to this. All right, and so you might wanna, you can use a hair dryer, no problem, but I'm gonna switch to this so that I don't, cause the live to be turned off. Then we'll add the trees, and I'll tell you how to do that when we get there. We'll add the yellow green, the indigo blue, which is the dark blue. Then we'll add the trunk. Then we'll make sure as we add the trunk that we do it in a way where it looks more believable, where we let some of the leaves be in front of the trunk. And then the final details. So that's like the 10 steps we're gonna go through together. All right, so step number 1 is the 100% cotton paper. I'm using Grabby's watercolor paper. I really like it. I think it's really close to Arches, which is my favorite. All right, and you can wet it several ways. You can just get like a big brush, and you can wet it by just going like this across. But to save time, I have actually gotten a sponge, and I got it wet. And what I'm gonna do, this is I'm just going to get the whole paper wet with the sponge like this. Just like that. I'll move this out of the way. Move that out of the way, okay. We're just getting the whole side wet. All right, and when you think you've gotten that side wet, you flip it over and you do the other side. You get the other side all wet. This is a really, really cool trick to make some cool looking clouds. All right, there we go. Hey, what size paper are you using? This happens to be 10 by 7 inches, but when we get to like step 4, I'm gonna be swapping it out for a smaller one. It really doesn't matter as long as it's not too big. If it's really big, it's gonna take you much longer to be done with it. So I chose kind of a smaller size so we can get this done in like half an hour or less, or maybe a little bit more actually. We'll aim for half an hour. All right, so I got both sides pretty wet. And what's nice about having both sides wet like that is that the paper doesn't want to buckle. It wants to stay flat, which is what we want. All right. So now that the paper's all wet like that, we're going to take our sky blue, which we've activated. And this is where I think it gets really fun. All right, we're going to put this right here, sky blue. And the trick here is to get about 50% of the sky blue and 50% white, and randomly. So you can spread it out a little bit. Where did my music go? I want my music again. All right, here we go. I got distracted by the music, or lack thereof. All right, then I'm just kind of randomly dabbing it, getting a little bit more. Look at that. Isn't that, I think this is so fun. This is so cool. And I'm knowing that 50% needs to be blue and 50% about white is what's kind of guiding me. Also knowing that we're gonna have trees going into from the side. So leaving the outside a little bit more white and putting more blue towards the middle of the page is a good idea. And it really is like random. See, like I could just dab like that and now go in and try to make sense of it. All right, let's see here. The reason why I think this technique works so well is because you've wet the paper, and that water that's already on the paper is gonna cause the paint to spread out very soft and really give the cell the illusion of clouds. So I really like this technique. All right, now I want to go in and let's say I want to make some of these a little bit like the sky. I want it to just be a little bit darker. I just have to go back in to the places I want it to be a little bit darker and do some more dabbing there. I want there to be some variety of shades of blue, not just all the same. There we go. And maybe I'll break this cloud up a little bit right here. So I'm closing my eyes and I'm just gonna dab somewhere. There we go. Okay, I close my eyes simply because, like, to show you it really doesn't matter too much. Like that, there's a lot of grace when it comes to clouds. Like, you never have the same sky every day. Like, there's always variety of clouds. And so whoops. Okay, so I want to make some of this a little bit darker too. So you don't really want to get too detailed on the sides because we're going to be covering a lot of those details up with the trees. All right, so there is about 50% blue and 50%, I'd say, white. There's got to be a little bit more blue over here though. Got to break this up a little bit. Hey Kylie, welcome. This is my favorite way to paint skies. I use cerulean. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I love how this wet paper just helps you create very beautiful looking clouds. And this is a very simple sky. Like it's just a pure blue with white clouds in the sky. So it's very simple, but yet it can look so beautiful. So, and it's fun, easy to do. I have struggled, like without this technique, I have tried to create this, not using this technique, and it's very frustrating. This is the way to go. It's so much simpler than how I used to do it. All right, now let's say you want to take some of the white away. You can do that with either a paper cloth, you can, like a napkin, you can come over and dab it, or you can clean your brush dry it off a little bit so you have kind of a dry brush, and then you can go back in and take out some of the paint that's there. Let me show you the other way with a napkin real quick, or a paper towel or something like this. You can go in and you can go like that. And yeah, all right. Now, just want to make some of these areas a little bit darker. What's nice about leaving some areas a little bit lighter is it really gives the illusion of clouds. They don't just like perfectly go to white and blue unless it's a crisp edge. They kind of do this thing where they blend out or fade out into the sky. Just really cool little beautiful things going on here. All right, now if I wasn't short on time, I would just let this dry, or I would get my blow dryer. Right, we're on stage now. We've dabbed with the blue. We've used 100% cotton. We've wet both sides of the paper. We've dabbed it with blue to create the illusion of sky, clouds in the sky. The next part is to dry with your hair dryer, both sides. If you only do one side, it's gonna buckle. It's going to bend weird. So you dry one side, flip it over, dry the other side, flip it over, and keep drying both sides about 3 times each. And then what you're gonna get is a nice flat piece of paper ready to go for the next stage, okay? Looking at this, I wanna break up some of this. So while you guys are drying your sky, I'm just going to kind of break up some of these clouds right here. Let's say right here. I'm gonna break up that one. Let's break up this one right here too. There we go. Break up the, oh, Robin Lynn, thank you for the gift. That was awesome, thank you. All right, so just wanted to create a little bit more variety and break that up. There we go. Let's break that one up a little bit. There. All right, I think that's cool. That's good. So I would dry this, but I'm not on the live because I do not want to have the live shut off because it's so loud. So what I'm gonna do is take this actually off here and let it dry on the side while we're doing the next stage. I gotta dry this off so I don't mess up what I'm gonna lay down here. So I'm just drying this. All right, here we go. So now I got this. So yours, after you dry it with the hair dryer, is going to be dry like this and ready for the next stage. This is really important that it's dry. Otherwise, your colors are gonna bleed together in a bad way. So make sure that it is dry. Eating Chinese food right now. Oh, no worries, Kylie, that's cool. Okay, so this is where you're gonna take your pencil. This is just a mechanical pencil. And you don't need a ruler to like make it perfectly straight or anything like that, because trees are generally straight, but they're not perfectly straight. And so here's the idea. You want everything to kind of go towards the center, but you don't want everything perfectly towards the center like it's a bullseye and everything is like perfectly going there. You actually want to kind of like imagine the bullseye, but avoid making it perfect like that. So I'm just putting a line and stopping right about here. I don't want to go all the way to the center. I want some trees to be taller, and let's say there's another one right here and it's shorter and it's not perfectly straight out, okay? And let's say there's kind of a big one, maybe like right here. Okay, purposely not making a perfectly straight line to show you don't need it. All right, let's say there's maybe one right here. I like that blue, I want to keep that there, so I'm going to just make a tree right here. Maybe there's a little one right here. Maybe a decent sized one right here. Let's say, maybe there's a big one right here. Small one. They're all aimed towards the center, but they're not like perfectly going to like a one little point, because trees don't do that. They're more sporadic. So, but as long as they're generally going in the direction, the key word is generally, not perfectly, then you're all right. All right. And it helps to sometimes imagine, here's the center, so somewhere within this line here, center, so all right. Okay, so we have just created the skeleton, basically, of our drawing of the trees. These are where we're going to put our trees. I used just a graphite 2H, and the 2H is nice because you'll see it as you paint, but you can eventually cover it up with darker paint, which is what we're going to end up doing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do with watercolors, and my music went away, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, the first thing to do when painting fairly realistically is you want to start with your lightest color. So as we do these trees, we're going to use our lightest green. And the one in this set is called yellow green. And it ends up looking like this. This is the yellow green one. So we're going to do that first. We're going to take some of this paint that's been activated. All right. And we're just going to, we're going to put some of that green on there, light green. And notice the only pattern I'm doing right now is that I'm going from thin to thick. That's the only thing I'm doing that's going to be same on all of these. Just thin, going back and forth, almost like a Z's, like Z's almost. You don't have to get crazy detailed because this is just the first layer, right? So if you do too many details, you're going to be hiding them anyways with the next color. So just kind of do some Z's back and forth. Depending on how big your paper is, like if you have a really big paper, then use a bigger brush than this so that you cover more quicker. And not all trees look the same, so maybe this tree right here is kind of like, it's kind of weird shaped and weird things going on with that one. Same with this one. We'll do this one a little bit different, where it's not symmetrical. There's some sides where it seems lopsided. You want to vary your trees so that it looks, if you're going for realism, you want to vary your trees. You don't want them all to look identical, because you're rarely ever going to see identical trees like that unless they're so far away they all look like cones, you know. So I guess there is a time and place for trees to look very similar, but when they're close, you do not want them to look identical. You actually want the variety. My brush has gotten drier, which is nice because look at all those little crazy details you can do with a dry brush. It's beautiful. The dry brush gives you just so much details very quickly. Cosmos, welcome. All right, so here we go. Cosmos, thank you for the heart. Thank you for the gift. as we go over the blue sky, it gets darker there, which is what would naturally happen if the background behind a tree was like that. So it's kind of cool. Naturally does what it would do in real life. Okay. Hello, Cosmos. I liked your art you did the other day. That was one of my favorite pieces you've done. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of sporadically going down and putting in some of the light greens. The only similarity really is that I'm going from thin to thick, and because they're pine trees. These are, and the other reason why we're going from thin to thick, like a little bit more than usual, is because we're looking up. And so the things closest to us are gonna really be coming towards us. And I'm making it a wider, so instead of doing like a thin triangle, we're making them a thicker triangle. Whenever you run out of water in your paint, just put some more in to activate it. And I really don't want this one I'm working on to look like the other ones. I really want it to be kind of sparse. That will give it just looks more realistic like that. Okay. I like how this blue kind of brings your eye into the circle right here. So instead of putting a tree right there, I'm just gonna leave that open so your eye, and that's really just an afterthought as I'm looking at it, because I could make a tree right there, but I don't think it needs it. I think that is it's nice how it is. Okay, I started on this tree and it's almost dry, so it's at a good stage to put the next color on. So I'm just gonna clean my brush. One of the reasons why I love watercolor is because that's how long it takes to clean your brush. Just 10 seconds, basically. It's beautiful. If you've worked with other mediums, you know it takes a little bit longer to clean your brush well. And so now we are gonna use a dark blue. And what we want to do with this dark blue is use a drier brush. So there's two things you can do. You can either take the brush, you've been using it, and dab your towel, paper towel, and try to break up the bristles so that they're not like perfectly pointy. Okay, you kind of want them frayed a little bit. Okay, or you can just get a brush that's dry like this, and you can use that. You can even use the cheapest brush there is, which is a dollar store. You know, for $1 you can get like 50 of these. You can even use this, okay? I kid you not, for this part. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna take my darkest blue, okay? We're gonna be brave here. And I'm just going to start dabbing a little bit. To create the illusion of lots of little details in this tree. Now, there's a couple rules that will help you if you remember them, okay? We want to leave some of that light green because that shows some variety and like light is hitting the tree. But we want the darkest areas of the tree in general to be towards the center. Why? Because towards the center of the tree is the trunk, and you're not just looking through the limbs of the tree on the side of the tree closest to you to see the sky. You're looking through the limbs that are closest to you and the limbs on the other side of the tree. So of course, the middle of the tree should be the darkest part of the tree. So that's what we're gonna do. With that information, we're gonna know to to do that. All right. We'll let that one dry for now and go on to the next one. So yeah, I'm using the dollar store little plastic brush to show you you don't have to use a crazy expensive one for this step. This step, you just want to be able to dab a whole bunch of little random sized dots to create the illusion of a tree. And I think this brush can do a good job doing that. So. And remember, one of our rules is in the center of the tree should be the darkest. As watercolor dries, you can kind of see, you know, if there's other areas you need to go back in, but okay, I gotta refrain. I wanna get all the details done now, but that's the final stage, so we gotta move forward. Here we go. So we're just gonna repeat this. If this was like a video on YouTube, I would fast forward this because you've already seen me do the first two. So I will try to kind of speed up in real time. I'll just try to get this part done a little bit faster. All right. And with your brush, like, don't be afraid to really dab. Like, I'm kind of going out like this. On this side, I'm pushing it out a little bit as I dab. Hopefully you're painting on a surface where you can get some paint there and clean it right afterwards. It won't stain it. That's the other thing that's nice about watercolor. You can reactivate it and clean it up easily. So I'm gonna push. Oh, that's a little bit too wet. So I'm gonna take off some of that and push out. Push out, there we go. And I really don't want there to be a lot of light in there because it's such a big tree. I want it to be really dark. And there we go. Okay. Here we go. Moving along. You're working with the brush. You're not really fighting the brush. You're just seeing what it can do and then use what it can do to your advantage. Like, oh, okay. The dabbing it like this creates some cool tree looking effects. So okay. I'm gonna get some other music. Let me get another playlist here. This is copyright free music. So on this side of the tree, I'm kind of pushing outwards. And you can push on the other side with your wrong hand if you want. In the middle of the tree, we want it to be the darkest. I found using that really light green to start with and then putting a dark blue on top is really effective because it creates the illusion of like other greens mixed in there, and it's just two colors. Oh, cool, you guys. Some of you are painting with me. That's cool. Thank you, Froggy. How are you not anxious with dark colors on top? Oh. Sorry, I'm not. I'm just now seeing some of your guys' comments. If I'm going too fast for you, don't worry. I'm gonna be posting this whole tutorial on YouTube. So if you've fallen behind a little bit, like, don't worry. It'll be up on YouTube. If you subscribe to my lives, I can also put it up for only my subscribers because it's a longer video. So I'm going in the direction of the branches. You can either push out like this to create some, or you can start here and push in. So there's some freedom there, whatever you want to do. What the goal is to create variety. You don't want it all to look exactly the same. So you can start here and push in to create some of that. Start here, push in, or push out. And I know I'm saying some of the same things over again, but some of the best ways to learn is repetition. So again, at the middle of the tree, we want it to be the darkest, and also at the bottom of the tree, we in general want it to be the darkest because there's a lot more limbs and leaves that doesn't allow the light to go through. So the lightest parts are going to be more at the top. Right? And just knowing those little rules really help you to relax and be like, okay, if I stay within some of those guidelines, I can just have fun. Sometimes I like to just splatter real quick at the bottom part to get rid of some of the extra water and then move my way up. If there was a test after this demonstration, one of the questions on the test would be, where in general, should the tree be darkest? And hopefully by now you guys would be like, towards the bottom of the tree and in the center of the tree, because light doesn't shine through those areas the easiest. More at the top and on the sides. All right. Another reason why I kind of like using such a cheap brush like this for this to show you that you can relax, and as long as you kind of know your tools and let them do what they do best, painting is enjoyable. It's when you don't know your tools that you're constantly fighting them and you're like, oh, I hate painting. It's like, no, you don't hate painting. You just don't know how to use your tool properly. So you're frustrated with your tool, but if you learn your tool, you would get back to the creative part that you first loved about the idea of painting or drawing or whatever it is. All right, darkest right in the middle. All right. So at the top, I just dab a little bit of the branches and work my way down. Skittles, welcome. Ryder, welcome. Travels, he did a full landscape with one recently. That was amazing. Oh, thank you, Kylie. All right, there we go. this is more realistic of how trees are. The shadows are kind of like randomly, they're not perfectly symmetrical. And this is probably my favorite tree of all of them so far. Darkest at the bottom and in the center of the trees in general. And I always have to say in general, because you'll always get someone who will take those rules and then become legalistic and be like, it has to. And it's like, if you look at real life, there's always some rules that get broken, you know, and you just have to kind of know when to break them, so it gives the illusion that you're looking for. But you don't want to get legalistic. It stops being fun when you get legalistic with pretty much anything. You just want the rules as kind of a guideline, and the rules are not meant to keep you from your full potential. They're actually meant to help you reach your full potential. The rules are there to really help you achieve what you're going for. So for $1, you can go to the dollar store and pick up like 50 of these or 100 of them. It's crazy. And I would not recommend using this for the first part of our painting, the part where we made the sky. I would not use this for that. That would probably be a headache. But for this part, this tool works really well. I liked how the professional sounded, and then I tried it and it sounded like a dying cat. Wait, what? Dang. Oh, thank you, Robin Lynn. And it takes like 2 years to get over the cat phase, like 5 years. I think I came in the middle of a conversation that I don't quite understand. I'm just adding a little bit more darks on this tree. Since it's dried, I know that I can add more darks there. I can do the same here. There. All right. We got one last tree to do. How are we doing on time? Oh man, I gotta finish this before my live shuts off. Lately on TikTok, like at the hour mark, whether you're done with your live or not, it will just shut off. So I gotta finish this piece before it does that. Hey guys. All right, so I'm almost ready for the last two stages. As soon as I'm done with this guy. This is the tree that is a little bit more sparse. Because of lack of motion. Okay. Oh, because of lack of motion? That, and I think they started some new thing where it's like at the hour mark, they'll say, hey, are you still there? And if you don't like push the button to say, yeah, I'm still here, then it thinks you've abandoned people. The problem is where I have the phone, I can't see the screen. So I never know when it pops up. That's one of the issues. I hope that they fix it someday because it just started like about a month ago and I have not found a way to solve it. I've written to them. I'm like, hey, as an artist, I can't see that sign to say, yeah, I'm still here. So it just assumes I'm not here and then turns off. Okay, here we go. Just cleaning this amazing 5-cent brush made out of 100% plastic. All right, now we're gonna get, we'll get a brush. It could be like this, it could be like this. And what we're gonna do is put in the final part, which is the trunk. So I'm just gonna wet my brush a little bit. Oh, I forgot to activate the black. I'm gonna put black in here. I'll activate some brown, and we'll still use some of this blue, okay? For the sake of time, I'm letting these things mix in here, and I'll fix it later. But, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. Get some of that black, some of that brown, some of that blue, and we're gonna put in the base of this. Okay, and notice that it's very wide at the bottom. Okay, and I don't just go from here all the way to the top. I'm going to sporadically show. I'm looking at what is here and what I would like to kind of show where it is. Hint that it's behind some of these. And there's some beautiful things there that I don't want to get rid of, so I let that be in front. I let that be in front of the trunk. I am so sorry. My brain is like malfunctioning here because I'm doing too many things at one time. Okay, all right. And then you don't even really have to do too much up there. But that's the idea, right? That looks fairly good, I would say. All right, so now let's just do that. Now, this is a smaller tree, so I would probably get a smaller brush for some of this. Ooh, I want it to be darker than that brown right there. There we go. We'll do that. There we go. Just like that. There we go. The final stage is the final details, and we can come back to these trees and put in the little final things with a smaller brush. But right now, we can still use this brush we used for the whole sky and have no problems. Okay, the big base, remember that. On our thing, we said right here, the dark brown for the trunks of the tree. You don't want a skinny triangle, you want a fat triangle as you make the trunk. And let some of the leaves over the trunk, okay? And it doesn't have to be a perfect line up because trees are not a perfect line all the way up. It's okay if it's bent a little bit. Looks great. Thank you, Kylie. Every once in a while I'll glance over and whatever comment I see over there, I'll respond to. But I'm just randomly looking over there at times. If I don't say anything about your comment, I'm not purposely trying to ignore you or anything. Just a heads up. All right. So what's helping me kind of make a decision as to what I do is if there's any like bright spots where you see the clouds behind towards the center, I'm going to cover up some of those because you want to see past the trunk there. Maybe, there we go. And guys, if my live shuts off before we're done, I am so sorry. I have not figured out how to stop that from happening. And I will be posting what we've done so far on my YouTube channel. So if I went too fast, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch the tutorial from beginning to end at your pace. Okay. Here is a good example of like, it's okay to do once in a while, but you don't want every tree to show that much trunk towards the top. That's a lot, but since it's only happening to like one tree like this, I think you can get away with that. You can even put like a little branch coming off there, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. All right, let's go back. If you guys tap the screen and stuff like that, it might tell TikTok that you guys are here and active, and maybe it won't shut it off at the 1 hour mark. I am not sure. But that might help. For those of you not painting, if you're painting along with me, don't worry, just keep painting. Okay. There we go. All right, we're getting close. We're a little bit more than halfway. Let's say that there's 2 trees here. I like the idea of like actually turning this into 2 trees. So we're just gonna put in there's a tree there, and we'll say there's another one right here, like that. Cosmo, thank you for the dinosaur. That is awesome. TikTok, don't shut me off, please. There's people here. All right. There we go. I think that looks cool. That was a afterthought, putting 2 trees there. All right, wide base. And then let's say this tree is kind of crooked. So it starts off going here, but let's bring it kind of over here. Yeah, this tree is a little bit crooked. This tree is a little shady. You can't trust it. All right, and then let's do... See, once you've done a few, you can start wherever you want. You can start at the top and make your way down. You don't always have to start at the base. Ooh. There we go. This is such a fun drawing to do, and it's easy. I think it's really, really easy to do. So if you got here a little bit later and you wish you saw the first part of this, like go to my YouTube channel and I'll post this like tonight or tomorrow so you can watch the whole thing at your leisure. This is really fun. And I was inspired by another watercolor artist, and I forget her name, but she's really good. She just came out with a book, or it's like coming out, I think, in a few days. And when I saw hers of this, I was like, okay, that is a fun piece. I got to learn how to do that. So anything I learn, I will share with you guys. No gatekeeping. I want you guys to enjoy creating. Okay, so I'm going to take this smaller brush right now. And we got just a few minutes left before I think I get shut off. So I'm gonna go fast here, all right? And what I'm doing is I'm just gonna put in tree limbs, all right? And reactivating that black right there, all right? Getting my brush with a lot of black pigment. And here is a trick to limbs. Think of the letter Y, kind of crazy. So here's a Y. I just put in a Y right there, but it's crazy. It's a crazy Y. Here's another one. Look at that. There's another Y. It's just kind of crazy though. It kind of goes all over. You have freedom with your Ys. And if a branch continues to go up, you just add more Ys to it. And I learned that from Bob Ross. He pointed out that tree limbs tend to have Ys. Crazy Ys. Just like that. Here's a Y. And you can, and the more you do variety of your Ys, like Ys with like a tiny arm, and then one with a thicker one, like the more variety you do, the more it's gonna look realistic. Because once again, trees do not look the same, as there's so much variety. So really make your Ys have lots of, make each of your Ys unique. So they're not the same Y. Let me show you another example of what I mean. Let me show you this. I think this is a good example here, okay? Okay, here is what we think of like a capital Y, right? Okay, when you're doing Ys on a tree, make some variety of your Ys. So let's say here, that's a Y, but this is longer than this one. But let's say on this Y, you have there. Now that's a Y too, but this time this is longer. If you want to make this branch have more Ys, just bring out more Ys. All right, and really be crazy with your Ys. All right, I think the crazier you are, the more realistic your branch will look. Okay, now there is a general rule, which is trees in general go from thicker to thinner. Like it's gonna look weird and top heavy if you make the Y at the top like this come down to the base where the grass is. Like that looks like this is looking like a flower now, right? Because flowers can be thick towards the end, but not trees. Not trees, okay? So that's you don't want to do that. From thick to thin, right? And from thicker to thin with branches. But that is a cool little rule of thumb where you just put Ys. And you could put, watch this, you could put, let's say here's a tree. Just pretend this is a tree right here. Okay. You can make a little tiny Y, like this is just starting to bud right here, okay? Or you can make a Y that comes really far out, like maybe this is a sycamore tree, and so your Y comes all the way out here and does some interesting things, okay? And if it is really, really wide, then you want to make your base wider too. You want to keep that in mind, all right? All right, but anyways, okay, so I hope that helps you with your landscape paintings. All right, reactivating this black. And let's see, let's do this one. So I'm just putting in Ys randomly. I'm going to show you something a little bit more technical. Imagine your Y gets stopped because there's branches in the way, and you just pick up your Y later. Okay, that takes a little bit of imagination. So it starts, you pick it up, and you finish your Y later. Okay, that gives the illusion that there really is some branches, leaves in front of your Ys. Right? But that's a little bit more technical. So if that's a little bit too challenging, don't worry, work up to that. It's just stopping and then